Cold open hook, 38 words. The tribunal's overhead lights glared like interrogation lamps. But Rowan Hawley kept her gaze steady on the polished oak table, every eye in the room waiting for the single sentence that could shatter $1 billion. Division. They thought she would break. Rowan inhaled the antiseptic, tang of the internal affairs chamber, and let it settle behind, her sternum like iron filings arranging themselves to true magnetic north. A guard cleared his throat, the sound ricocheting off glass panes. Outside, late afternoon sun backlit aircraft shells strewn across the secure airfield. Silhouettes of failure waiting for refurbishment. 2 hours earlier, those same machines had circled the proving range in a mock search and rescue drill. And Rowan Call, sign hush to the few who ever got close, had watched every telemetry thread pulse across her tablet. She'd seen the anomaly before anyone else, a stutter in the flight path vector that suggested human override. She'd murmured a warning, but the comms director brushed it aside. Uncooperative, he muttered to the ops chief. Always second-guessing. Rowan closed that mental file and swept the chamber with guarded eyes, metal-studded walls, twin ceiling cameras pivoting on servo brackets. At the far end, a row of brass-ranked officers whispered behind dossiers stamped urgent. Level A, they wanted her on record, under oath. They didn't realize they were about to be indicted by the very witness they underestimated. Back, story thread. Everyday competence 6 months earlier. Rowan had stepped through the gates of the Coyote Ridge Response Hub with nothing but a duffel of field manuals, a worn sniper notebook her late father once annotated, and a trauma shears kit from her combat medic mother. The hub, sprawled across an abandoned mining pit, had been repurposed into a disaster response compound airstrips. Etched onto dust, modular hangars rising like bronzed ribs. The program promised to revolutionize remote extractions. All Rowan had promised was silence until she understood the truth. She spent dawn hours calibrating the rescue drones no one else believed were misaligned, ear-tuned to the subharmonic whine of unbalanced rotors. She cross-checked hydraulic pressures, cleaned optic lenses, and signed every maintenance log in tight, precise cursive. Co-workers called her fussy. Supervisors called her obstinate. Nobody called her after work, but on rare nights she'd climb the observation gantry, legs dangling over 30 meters of nothing, and recite her father's wind calculation drills, while the desert air cooled the sweat on her collarbones. Always measure twice, he'd told her before his final deployment. 1 centimeter off at the barrel is meters off at the ridge. Her mother's voice followed, gentler but just as firm. Stitch the wound clean the first time, and you won't need a second closure. Rowan lived on that knife-edge intersection precision and care, fused into relentless focus. Everyday competence in action. Wednesday morning's casualty drill should have been routine. 2 squads simulated extraction after a chemical spill, while drones delivered pressurized triage pods. Rowan checked the chemical sensors personally, swapping carbon filters and sealing gaskets until the meters read perfect zeros. Then she noted the ragged tear in Corporal Finley's glove. "Got a spare?" she asked. Finley shrugged. "It's fine. It's only powdered dye today, not toxin." Rowan knelt, sliced away the damaged glove with her trauma shears, and slid afresh. Nitrile pear over his hand garbage disposal hum from the mobile sterilizer filling the silence. Competence, she thought, is the minute nobody notices until disaster arrives. Finley nodded thanks, but later she overheard him joking that she was high maintenance. Moments like that stung, just enough to remind her of the thin scar running across her own palm, the price of a poorly checked blade years ago. She flexed the scar now, letting its raised ridge ground her dot, inciting incident. 1,300 hours the siren howled 3 extended tones, meaning unauthorized system breach. Monitors flickered from life sign telemetry to a cascading red alert. Rowan's workstation flashed a dossier she'd never opened. Subnode Sigma. She tapped in her admin override. A map popped up. The drones weren't cycling pre-programmed rendezvous corridors. Someone was injecting real-time coordinates, steering them toward the outer perimeter, where live munitions were stored. Her pulse didn't spike. She'd conditioned her adrenal response through biofeedback. Instead, she tracked the command handshake. It originated from a serial port inside the command tower. Rowan grabbed her comms badge. "Ops, this is Hale. I have unauthorized redirect on flights AB2 through AB6. Recommend immediate grounding." Static. Then Lieutenant Branch's board drawl crackled. "We're running an adaptive drill, Hal. Stand down." Adaptive? The training syllabus showed no such drill. Rowan's shoulder tensed. She toggled an encrypted frequency her father once etched into her memory. 3 channels dead air until you reach the ghost bandwidth where no standard headset ever roamed. She sent a burst ping, silent, narrow, but enough for proof. Reply was seismic, an encrypted packet containing staging logs that reaffirmed no adaptive drill existed today. Someone was lying. Audience prompt droppa. If you've ever been dismissed when your gut screamed you were right. Investigative tension. Rowan sprinted across the tarmac, dust spiraling around her boots. The heat shimmer blurred hangar edges. But she focused on the command tower's steel ladder. 12 meters up, she bypassed the keypad with a flathead and rewired 2 pigtail leads 8 seconds, her personal record. Inside, fluorescent bulbs buzzed. Workstations hummed unattended. The main console still displayed drone telemetry, but a secondary window scrolled lines of shell script. Upload_exfer. Payload equals config_patch.bin. Whoever launched it had overwritten the control loop with a subroutine pointing to munitions coordinates, and Rowan's breath caught a detonation command. Someone planned to crash the drones, frame a malfunction, and light up the explosives. In training. With 90 personnel stationed less than a click away, she screenshotted everything. Auto-saved to an encrypted thumb drive. Footsteps on the stairwell snapped her focus. She yanked the drive, pocketed it, and ducked behind a server rack. Commander Ellis entered, silver eagle glinting on his cap. He typed quick commands: commit, erase, purge logs. Rowan's stomach clenched at each keystroke. When he left, she exhaled once, deeply. Decision point protocol said report chain of command. Chain of command was the command. She needed outside oversight. Internal affairs. Audience prompt: smash that, if you've ever risked everything, because it was the only right thing to do. Crisis and reveal. Rowan composed a secure email to EA headquarters. Attach the data and set the timestamp to auto-send if she didn't cancel within 1 hour. Her finger hovered over the delay send icon when an explosion rattled window panes. Not the explosives depot, thankfully, but a drone had crashed just short of the blast zone. Warhead inert. Sirens. Over the PA, Commander Ellis's voice bellowed. All units, halt operations. Incident under control. System glitch. Return to quarters. Lying again. Rowan's delay timer ticked to 59 to 47. She left it running. Pursuit. She descended the ladder, but security intercepted her. 2 MPs flanked her, citing an information containment order. They escorted her to an interrogation room and labeled her uncooperative when she demanded legal counsel. Good. Let them underestimate. The timer expired. The email launched within 30 minutes. A matte black EA helicopter touched down. Officers asked for witness Hale. Commander Ellis tried to stonewall, so they produced a federal mandate. Rowan's escort turned into a motorcade to headquarters. Tribunal. Present moment. Now she sat before brass and glass. The recording light blinked. Red. A colonel cleared his throat. Ms. Hale, you've submitted evidence of systemic sabotage within Disaster Response Division 7. Do you understand the gravity of perjury? Rowan met his gaze. Yes, sir. Her voice sounded steady, but inside her chest, the scar on her palm tingled, a phantom warmth from memories of rusted steel and childhood. Promises. She slid the thumb drive across the table. Everything is on here, including footage of who ordered the override. She didn't glance at Commander Ellis seated 2 chairs down. Sweat beading under his starched collar, the colonel inserted the drive. Screens behind him blinked with cascading data, shell scripts, flight paths, audio logs of Ellis's authorization. You realize, Ellis hissed, that your career is over if you're wrong. Rowan's pulse remained an even 48 BPM. She projected her father's calm, her mother's empathy. I'd rather lose a career than 90 lives. Alarm sirens wailed this time inside headquarters. The monitors flashed live feed. The munitions depot back at Coyote Ridge had ignited. Fireballs bloomed under a mushroom of black smoke. Someone had triggered the failsafe. The tribunal chamber erupted in shouts. Ellis lunged for Rowan, but guards restrained him. The colonel barked orders into a handset. Rowan's mind raced. Who else had access codes? How many casualties? Could the tensile shelters withstand the blast? Her throat tightened, but she visualized her mother's suturing rhythm, steadied her breathing. Cliff, Henry, the chamber doors burst open. An aide yelled, "We've lost contact with the entire ridge. Casualty numbers unknown." Orders, Rowan gripped. The table edge, realization searing. The sabotage wasn't isolated. The whole division was compromised. And the only evidence left was the thumb drive now flickering error icons. Rowan's pulse didn't wait for a command. It shifted from measured calm to mission cadence the instant the aide's words struck the air. They're already inside. She rose, steel chair legs screeching across terrazzo as the colonel barked. Orders drowned by the klaxon. 5 strides carried her to the control panel, fingers finding breaker switches by instinct. Emergency shutters slammed down over observation windows, sealing the tribunal chamber into a bunker of flickering fluorescence and stale breath. Commander Ellis howled protest, but Rowan tuned him out. She assessed assets. 3 internal affairs. Officers, 2 tribunal guards with sidearms. 1 colonel competent but unspecialized, and herself weaponless yet trained. Threat assessment. Unknown number of infiltrators, likely armed, possibly disguised as support staff. Objective, protect. Evidence and key witnesses. Secondary, locate additional proof. She hooked a stray power cord around the door handles, yanking tight until copper strands showed white. Temporary, but enough to slow entry. The colonel's gaze questioned her authority. She answered with crisp clarity. "Sir, we have less than 2 minutes before they cut main power. We need redundant comes and exit strategy now." He nodded. Deference wrestled into compliance by raw necessity. Rowan tapped her wrist. "Come military." Surplus she'd modded for mesh networking. "HushNet Live," she whispered. The device emitted a faint chirp, hunting for peer nodes. 2 pings returned. Finley and Corporal Merritt, both still at the ridge. Good. Some allies alive. Audience prompt, drop a. If you've ever had to improvise under pressure, because no one planned for the unthinkable. A ceiling vent rattled. Dust filtered like dirty snow. Rowan snatched the colonel's sidearm, checked chamber 1 in, handed it back, muzzle down. Permission to coordinate defense. The colonel gestured assent. She assigned stations. Guard Ramirez to far corner, overlapping fields of fire with Guard Chin behind flipped tables. IA analyst Dr. Ortiz to secure the thumb drive's contents. Onto a sealed data diode. Captain-level liaison Kandinsky to monitor door integrity. The room smelled of anticipation, ozone from overloaded circuits and the faint copper tang of fierce wet. Rowan's mind flashed to childhood afternoons aligning her father's antiquated spotting scope, learning to read mirage shimmer for wind, her mother lacing stitches with symmetrical precision. Both parents had preached the same mantra, *preparation. is the antidote to panic. Asterisk, she exhaled deliberately. Slowing heartbeats, hallway footsteps, hurried, disciplined. Not maybe they would announce. Rowan signaled Ramirez to douse lights, plunging them into half-dark. She crouched near the data terminal, unplugging a network cable. Sparks danced, but the screen morphed into command line glow direct feed to the Ridges network. She typed blind, spend dual stream, sync mesh, initiating a real-time mirror of every surviving sensor log to offsite cloud servers she alone could access. She heard Chun murmur a prayer short, utilitarian. Floor plates vibrated once, twice. Then a muffled thud breaching charge set. Rowan counted seconds. 6. 5. She slid behind a column 4. 3. Her fingers grazed a metal pen. Not a weapon, but leverage 2. 1. The blast blew. The doors inward, wrecking hinges. Smoke and drywall dust erupted. 2 figures in matte gray battle rigs surged through, night vision goggles glinting. Shots cracked. Ramirez's first round caught lead intruder in clavicle. He spun, crashing into the second. Chun's burst stitched sparks off body armor. Rowan lunged, pen gripped like an ice pick, driving it between helmet seals of the stumbling attacker. He screamed. The pen snapped, and she shoved him aside, rolling across debris. Strobe grenades clattered. Rowan snagged one mid-spin, stuffed it under a toppled chair, and kicked it toward breached doors at the last instant. White flashback lit. Invaders still outside. Their retinas fried for vital seconds. Everyday competence under fire. Rowan crawled to Ortiz, who'd shielded the thumb drive beneath her jacket. Progress, Rowan hissed. 92% mirrored, Ortiz panted, typing with 2 fingers. You have 60 seconds. Rowan snatched a sidearm from fallen intruder, racked slide. The second attacker regained footing and swung rifle barrel. Rowan ducked, fired double tap to knee then visor. The man dropped. Electric buzz died, main power severed. Emergency red glow replaced white fluorescence. Rowan's mesh wrist pinned again thinly. Asterisk depot ablaze. Survivors regrouping South Ridge. Asterisk, she typed. Hold. Extract plan forming. Her thumb shook, first tremor of adrenaline leak, so she flexed scar in palm. Ray-centering. Ellis lurched from behind overturned desk, brandishing a concealed pistol. You caused this, he shouted, eyes fever bright. He fired wild. Bullet clicked concrete near Ortiz. Rowan leveled captured rifle. Drop it. Ellis's hand trembled. The gun skittered away. Audience prompt hit that. If you've ever seen the truth shake someone to their core. Static poured from hallway intercom. Package priority alpha. Neutralize witness. Retrieve evidence. Rowan recognized the voice major. Connors, Ellis's deputy, missing since siren. Connors must command the infiltrators. Rowan moved to Colonel. Sir, we need to get you in evidence to sublevel garage. My meshnet says the Western Freight elevator has auxiliary power from UPS. Lead on, Colonel replied. They formed diamond formation. Rowan front, guards flanking, trio center, Colonel rear. Ellis marched with zip cuffs after Chun restrained. Him, Rowan insisted. He was liability but also testimony. They navigated smoke-choked corridor. Overhead sprinklers triggered, mist mingling with cordite. Emergency strobes painted walls blood red. Rowan scanned corners, muzzle following eyeline. Every doorframe potential ambush. Stairwell access hatch hung open. She descended first, steps muffled by water pooling. Halfway down, she froze laser tripling across landing. Simple IR, but lethal. She knelt, exhaled, and used detached rifle sling as mirror to locate emitter. Quick mental math. 2.3 downward offset means receiver sits floor level behind potted. Fern. She pulled multi-tool, unscrewed emitter bracket, pivoted beam sealing ward, reattaching with gaffer tape. Path cleared. Sub-level garage. cavernous, echoing. Rows of tactical vehicles, armored SUVs, motorcycles. Medevac vans lined beneath sodium lamps still glowing courtesy UPS. Rowan keyed remote. Her assigned gray. Pathfinder beeped. She hustled group inside. Ramirez driver, Chun shotgun. Colonel and EA rear with Ellis shackled. She checked fuel full. She zipped open duffel from trunk. Wee's vest, field radios. Compact drone she'd assembled off books for terrain scouting. She set drone to auto hover outside vehicle. Optical feed to her wrist, HUD. They rolled out. Tires crunching glass. Garage. Exit ramp sloped to security, gate dark except for single guard booth. Rowan's drone circled, infrared overlay revealing 2 heat signatures behind sandbags. Hostiles, she whispered. Ramirez killed headlights, coasted forward. Rowan climbed sunroof, balanced knees, rifle ready. At 15 meters, the first gunman raised weapon. Rowan squeezed trigger, armor-piercing round punched center mass. Second turned, but Ramirez floored engine, bumper smacking sandbags, hurling him sideways. Gatekeeper keypad flickered offline. Rowan leaped down, hot-wired manual override. Gate groaned up. SUV shot into twilight. Desert dust-coated sky in bruise purple. Ridge fires glowed distant like fallen stars. Rowan directed Ramirez south along Service Road, away from Plume. She unfolded topographic map under dashboard light, tracing finger toward abandoned ranger, outpost secure vantage. Solar power, line of sight to Ridge. Ortiz, announced transfer complete. She pocketed mirrored drive. Rowan smiled thinly. First win. But triumph bled away when her wrist come emitted emergency quartet beeps * mesh distress. * Finley's icon flashed red. Message truncated. ... Courtyard compromised. Casualties heavy. Need evac. Then null. Rowan inhaled shards of memory. Finley shaking her hand after she saved his glove. His laughter in mess hall about her fussiness. She had a rule: save who you can, but never promise the impossible. Tonight she might need to break it. They reached Ranger Outpost, weather-beaten but standing. Rowan swept interior clear. She directed Ortiz to link mirrored drive to solar battery tower transmitter. Broadcasting encrypted archive beyond division jurisdiction. Ortiz got to work. Colonel paced, phone dead. Rowan offered spare battery. He dialed National Command. Line crackled, then connection cut. A comes jammer in play. Rowan's gaze drifted to east horizon. A drone swarm shimmered under moonrise scout units, scanning. She booted laptop, accessed mesh drone feed. Data readouts flagged unknown beacon. Coordinates near Ridge munitions crater subterranean vault. She realized sabotage network runs from hidden bunker. Destroying Ridge was diversion to mask extraction of classified prototypes. Evidence was incomplete. They needed physical proof. That meant returning. Ellis, sitting cuffed, smirked. You'll never expose them. You're one against an army. Rowan knelt eye level. An army falls the same as a tyrant, one flaw exploited. She remembered father. Zeroing scope at 800 meters, tiny bubble shift enough to arc bullet true. Audience prompt. Comment if you've ever stood up even when the odds screamed shut up. Plan formed. Brutal in simplicity. Use Ranger Outpost's old mine shaft entrance to infiltrate bunker undetected. Retrieve prototype manifest and ops logs. Transmit. Globally. Extract remaining survivors. She requested volunteers. Ramirez and Chun nodded. Ortiz hesitated, but handed her mirrored drive. If I don't make it, promise data sees daylight. Rowan gripped her wrist. You're coming back. We all are. Colonel stayed to coordinate remote assets. Ellis secured inside supply closet. Rowan donned Wee's vest, checked rifle, strapped trauma kit across back. She loaded flare pistol, non-lethal, but distraction. She affixed night vision goggles tuned by her own calibration earlier that week. Last-minute tweak others scoffed at. They set out on foot, moon hiding under thin clouds. Coyote calls echoed, but mechanical rotors closer. Rowan froze under scrub oak. Search drone buzzed overhead. She raised wrist cum. Quick script pulsed false IFFO, drawing drone west. It veered off, fooled. Mineshaft entrance yawned like. Throat of earth. Rowan keyed headlamp low. Descent ladder slick with condensation. She counted rungs, noting structural fatigue every seventh rung, a pattern she'd cataloged while mapping compound months ago. At tunnel floor, stale air mingled with diesel, the bunker's generators. They advanced, guns up. Tunnel curved. Ground vibrated with distant turbines. They passed crates marked food storage, but warmed a touch-a-tell of electronics inside. Ramirez pried lid, stacked signal jammers. Proof of conspiracy, data glasses recorded. Rowan annotated verbally. Ahead. Security door with biometric pad. Chun produced electric lockpick. Rowan overrode thermal sensors with chilled spray from medical kit. Pad accepted generic thumbprint after minutes work. Door hissed open. Inside. Control hub, a cathedral of servers. Orange LEDs blinking heartbeats. 2 technicians at central. Console turned, shocked. Ramirez disarmed them swift plastic cuffs. Rowan's gaze fixed on prototype drones, sleek, weaponized, coated Phoenix class. She snapped photos, downloaded config files to stick. Screen displayed live feed, survivors. Corralled in Ridge Courtyard, gunmen patrolling. Rage flared, but she remained surgical. She uploaded kill switch patchfather once taught for cyber range. They'd laughed at her caution then. She injected code into Fleet Core. A timer. 15 minutes, enough to escape before meltdown of sabotage drones. Alarm blared. Self-defense. Subroutines detected breach. Automated turrets unfolded from ceiling. Chun rolled behind server stack. Electric bark of rail, slugs peppered metal. Rowan knew turrets tracked heat. She yanked CO2 extinguisher, blanketed aisle in freezing mist. Turrets word uncertain. She sprinted low, sliding to maintenance hatch under floor gratings, manual override panel. She keyed factory default. Turrets drooped lifeless. They secured technicians' keycards, gathered drives. Timer ticked. 11:42. Extraction path. Ventilation. Conduit to surface canyon west side. Narrow. They climbed ladder single file. At top grate, night air rushed. They emerged onto plateau overlooking ridge fires dying, but patrols thick. Rowan studied patrol pattern. She assembled small recon drone from backpack. Launched. Feed beamed survivors penned near infirmary. Finley alive but injured. Rowan grit teeth. Decision. Rescue now. She radioed Colonel. Prepare evac vector to drop site Charlie. We'll bring survivors. Colonel's voice crackled affirmative. They slid down scree, hugging shadows. Timer 7:10. Rowan signaled Ramirez. To create diversion, he rigged thermite charge from drone battery and jammed grenades near fuel truck. Explosive roar lit sky, guards scattered. Rowan dashed across courtyard, bullets tracing. She vaulted barrier, landed beside Finley, his leg tourniquet applied but seeping. She lifted him, hidden strength from years lugging gear belied slender. Frame. Chun corralled 8 survivors. Ramirez covered rear, rifle barking. They sprinted for access tunnel leading to drainage culvert. Timer 3:12. Rowan paused, triggered kill switch. Bunker behind them erupted, drones combusting, a chain of detonations. Shockwave chased them through culvert, hot wind cutting lungs. Exited ravine onto valley flats illuminated by headlights. Colonel in armored truck. Survivors loaded. Rowan collapsed to knees, lungs heaving. As secondary explosions painted horizon, dawn bled over desert when convoy reached regional command center. Medics swarmed. Rowan refused stretcher until Finley secured. He clutched her sleeve. Told him you weren't fussy, just precise. He passed out smiling. Rowan stood in decontamination bay, water sluicing dust from hair. Bruises blossomed, but mind raced future steps. They had evidence, but enemy influence, upper ranks unknown. She'd testify again, but bigger stage federal. Inquiry. She dressed, exited bay and saw news broadcast on lobby screen. Asterisk Disaster Response Division 7 Hero Commander Ellis leads rescue effort. Insider saboteur Rowan Hawley in custody. Asterisk, her breath hitched. Clip showed doctored footage of Ellis commanding evacuation. A hand clasped her shoulder. She spun Director Marino, face grim. They moved faster than us. Ellis leveraged contacts, flipped narrative. Warrant out for your arrest. She handed Rowan passport and encrypted phone. Go dark, find more proof. We'll stall, but clock's brutal. Rowan's jaw set. She glanced at screen. Ellis smiling. She whispered, he's painting the target on me. Marino nodded. And he's hosting a press conference in 12 hours, Rowan inhaled. The desert sun rose through glass, silhouette of hawk circling. Then I'll give them a truth they can't bury. Her mother's words echoed. Asterisk suture once, never reopen. Asterisk Rowan would stitch shut the whole corrupt wound publicly. She pocketed phone, stepped into parking lot where an unmarked motorcycle waited, keys dangling like promise. The engine growled. To life, she revved once, dust swirling. Her new objective ignited crystal clear. Crash Ellis's press conference with undeniable evidence before world cameras, expose entire division, and absolve survivors. But as she sped toward highway, wrist come. Buzzed geofence alert, unknown signal tailing her. Rearview mirror caught black sedan accelerating, tinted windows hiding faces. The pursuit had begun sooner than she planned. She leaned forward, twisting throttle. Pavement blurred. Heart sinks to engine RPM. Ahead, canyon switchbacks threatened. Lethal plunges. Rowan braced. The sedan's headlights flared, closing. A side panel slid open, gunner aiming. Rowan veered, gravel spraying, but road clamped narrow. She glimpsed canyon drop, 100 meters of air. Choice, risk bullet or leap faith. She recalled father's ballistics. Sometimes trajectory demands the fall before the rise. She kicked bike into final gear, whispered apology to machine, and angled toward guardrail. The sedan's muzzle flashed strobe bullet clipping handlebar. Rowan launched off broken rail, bike airborne over abyss, engine screaming defiance. The desert wind swallowed sound. Gravity claimed them, suspension creaking under weightless second that stretched eternity. Asterisk cliffhanger asterisk. Rowan's front tire hit the canyon walls hidden. Ledge no wider than a bookshelf, wheels skidding on sand-dusted rock. She wrestled. Handlebars balanced on precipice. The bike teetered. The sedan braked too late, tumbling over edge, shattering into fireball below. Balanced for now, Rowan dared not breathe. The ledge crumbled beneath rear wheel. The ground whispered. Then it gave way. Stone crumbled under the rear tire, and gravity clawed at the Pathfinder's steel frame of Rowan's bike as the ledge sheared away like brittle bark. Metal screeched. Sparks danced against the canyon wall. Rowan's boots slammed to earth. Body launching off the saddle, fingers clawing for purchase on the jagged limestone lip above. A single guttural growl ripped from her throat as she hooked her left arm onto a root fissure no wider than her thumb. Adrenaline surged. The motorcycle ricocheted off boulders, echoing like thunder as it cartwheeled into the obsidian dark. Fuel ignited mid-air, orange blossom blooming beneath her dangling frame. Heat brushed her calves. She swung her right hand upward, nails scraping limestone until they found a crevice. Cold rock bit her skin, grounding her senses. Silence replaced. The roar only the click of pebbles skittering down. The distant whine of the dying engine. She inhaled slowly. Sand coated her tongue. Through the haze of dusk, A hawk silhouette traced wide arcs above. Indifferent sentinel. Cold open hook accomplished. Rowan shifted her weight slender, yes, but endurance honed. Her core burned as she dragged her torso up the cliff face. Each micro-movement echoed training. Father's pull-ups on rusted pipe, mother's medevac hoists. 1 centimeter, hold. Another centimeter. Knees found narrow indent. She exhaled, tasted blood from bitten lip. Audience prompt drop a if you've ever clung to a single shred of hope when the ground gave way beneath you. She crested the rim, rolling onto scrub grass, lungs sawing. Gravel grated under her. Vest. Ahead, the 2-lane highway remained empty except for the sunset's blood-red reflection on cracked asphalt. But headlights approached in the distance 2 vehicles this time, not 1. Perhaps search party from Ellis's private security wing. Rowan rose, forcing muscles to function. She checked inventory. Night vision goggles cracked, rifle lost with bike, trauma kit still strapped. Wrist come miraculously intact, though screen spider-webbed. Its beacon flashed. Colonel pinging her location. She toggled mic. Alive. Evading pursuit. Rendezvous Delta Point, 90 minutes. No guarantee the channel remained uncompromised. But she needed allies. She scanned the canyon lip. Carcass of a rusted utility shed half-buried in talus. She sprinted low, kicked the warped door. It groaned open. Inside, coils of mining cable, 2 oxygen tanks, and acetylene torch relics. From prospectors. Her mind mapped possibilities like a branching algorithm. Makeshift zipline, explosive trap. She settled on diversion. She rigged torch nozzle to oxygen, created crude flamethrower, then doused a coil of cable in spilled motor oil from torch valve. She stretched cable across highway bend where the sedan would crest disguised beneath. Tumbleweed. She set a flare inside oil-soaked rag, timed fuse with wrist-cum stopwatch. Then she retreated 50 meters into rocky alcove, crouched, calming breath to sniper slow. She waited, engines neared 2 matte SUVs, tinted windows. The lead crossed the disguised cable. Tires shredded instantly, vehicle fishtailing. Rowan triggered flare. Fireball rolled under chassis. Fuel tank ruptured, boom echoing across canyon. Second SUV braked, doors flinging. Guards spilled out. Rowan pivoted torch gun, squeezed. A plume of blue-white flame whooshed, licking at asphalt. Guards retreated behind vehicle, firing blind. She dropped torch, rolled left, sprinted toward dry gully. Bullets pinged off rocks. But she'd accomplished goal, sever pursuit chain. She slid into arroyo, followed its serpentine course parallel to highway. Shadows lengthened. Desert cooled. She texted Colonel, updated ET a backstory thread via reflection as she jog-limped. Her mind nested memories. The day she was labeled uncooperative on her personnel file. Orientation briefing. She'd flagged a missing failsafe inside. Drone autopilot recommended stall tests. Program manager pompous in crisp uniform scribbled note. Issue addressed. Recruit displays reluctance to follow command. Rowan bit back retort then, but hours later she soldered manual cutoff into each drone's motherboard. Quiet rebellion, disguised as routine maintenance. Her father once said, Asterisk, a single silent correction can reroute whole trajectories. Asterisk, she smiled brittle at how literal that wisdom now felt. Asterisk. Inciting incident continues arrival at Delta Point asterisk Delta. Point turned out to be an abandoned way station. Sodium vapor lights flickered sporadically. Colonel stood near a sand-colored Humvee, Ramirez and Chun scanning perimeter. Survivors rested inside, tended by Ortiz. Rowan's chest eased at sight of Finley awake. Legs splinted. She detailed canyon escape in crisp bullet points. Delivered confiscated technician keycards and photos. Colonel's jaw tightened at mention. Of press conference. We have 8 hours left, he said. Media converge on capital city. Ellis will spin entire disaster as heroic response. Rowan nodded. Then we stage a greater reveal. Ortiz tapped her mirrored drive. All files secure, but we need a public channel unfettered by Division's chokehold. Rowan's mind raced. City's central broadcast tower housed emergency override mandated by federal code for disaster alerts. Access credentials limited to top brass. Ellis surely had them, but with his biometric token, they could hijack feed. Ellis wears a thumb ring. Rowan recalled, silver-embedded RFID, we take it. Chun cracked grin. Pickpocket in front of cameras? Rowan shrugged. He likes shaking hands. Plan formation team assessed resources. 2 SUVs gassed, 1 drone bag with camera. Disguises from Ridge's med evac wardrobe. Empty uniforms, badges. Objective: infiltrate conference as first responder survivors delivering statement. Risk: Ellis's private security. Aware Rowan rogue. Solution: face-obscuring med masks. Plus Ortiz forging digital IDs. Ramirez suggested adding a secondary. Leak: schedule lining Ellis with supply crates showing he signed sabotage requisition. Rowan approved. They spent next 2 hours prepping. Ortiz scripted code to auto-stream evidence to social media once broadcast initiated. Colonel prep statement. Chun practiced lockpicks on spare cuffs, nerves disguised as humor. Finley, adamant to join, though injured. Rowan allowed him vantage duty inside broadcast tower. Everyday competence moments. Rowan repaired cracked night vision lens using clear epoxy and acetate strip. Her hands steady despite fatigue. Mothers. Surgeon-like steadiness. She recalibrated Humvee's GPS jammer to cloak convoy path from tracking satellites. Ramirez stocked medical kits, praising her cable trap. Audience prompt smash that. If you believe real heroes plan. Before the sirens start. Journey to city convoy rolled before dawn. Desert gave way to scrub, then neon sprawl. Billboard headlines already praised Ellis. Rowan's stomach nodded, but focus remained needle-sharp. At city outskirts. They parked in shadow of construction site. Ortiz distributed forged passes. Rowan slipped into ENT jacket, tucking hair into cap. She holstered compact stun gun salvaged from guard earlier. They approached press center glass monolith flanked by barricades. Media vans, police. Rowan affected limp to feign injury, leaning on Chun. Guards waved them through after scanning IDs. Inside atrium, marble floors reflected bright lights. The scent of coffee and stage makeup mixed bizarrely. Ellis's voice drifted from main hall, confident, smooth. Rowan's heart hammered like rotor blades. She spotted him near podium, shaking hands with governor. Ring gleaming. Time to improvise. She whispered plan revision. Chun and Ramirez to create commotion at refreshment table. Ortiz to route audio. Feed to her wrist come once she had ring. Chun bumped a server. Knocking tray silverware clanged. Coffee splashed onto dignitary. Chaos rippled. Rowan seized moment, hobbling toward Ellis, face masked. She pretended stumble, clutching his arm for balance. Their bodies collided, fingers grazed ring. Her thumb pressed micro-detacker paste against band interior, a solvent. Dissolving metal in 30 seconds. She apologized, stepped back into crowd. Ellis wiped sleeve, continued PR swagger. Rowan watched the ring darken, weaken. He removed it, handing to Aide. She shadowed Aide to backstage, intercepting. Stun gun zap. Aide collapsed quietly. She pocketed ring, swapped ID badge. Then beeline to service elevator bound for broadcast tower. Audience prompt tap. If you've ever slipped past the gatekeepers to get things done. Broadcast tower infiltration. Finley, stationed as lookout, flagged via earpiece, security en route to backstage. 20 seconds. Rowan sprinted down maintenance corridor. Scanned ring at biometric pad door slid open. Inside control room. Racks of transmitters, hum of national feed lines. Two operators stared, surprised. Rowan flashed forged badge. Emergency override. Test. Stand clear. Her authority tone cut debate. Operators obeyed. She plugged Ortiz's drive into master console. Screen asked password. She scanned ring over RFID, reader access granted. She initiated broadcast override. Countdown 0:30 displayed. Ortiz's data cued footage of sabotage. Drone kill switch logs, bunker explosions, witness statements. Rowan keyed microphone, ready for live. Colonel responded they were. Podium side dot, but an alert pinged manual abort from VIP device. Ellis realized ring missing, triggered lockdown. Control room doors thudded shut, alarms blared. Klaxons echoed in corridors. Rowan cursed, fingers dancing on keys to bypass abort. Ellis's clearance superior. She needed direct fiber cut to block his cancel command. She yanked multi-tool, sprinted to server rack, hunting cable labeled priority VIP. She severed it. Sparks flew. Countdown resumed, 0:12. Then elevator dinged. Security team spilled in, rifles raised. Rowan ducked behind console. Bullets whined, screens shattered. She rolled, grabbed fire extinguisher, pulled pin, sprayed cloud to obscure vision. She dashed to emergency ladder access, climbed up 2 rungs, pressed wrist, come, feed going live, buy me 60 seconds. Colonel at podium stepped forward, began reading prepared statement cut through by governor's confusion. Cameras pivoted. Broadcast married split screen. Colonel speaking and Rowan's evidence slideshow, auto-playing. Control room roared with gunfire. A round grazed Rowan's calf, hot pain exploding. She grunted but climbed. Resolution and reflection, albeit provisional evidence, rolled worldwide. Social media erupted. Hashtags sprouted in seconds. Ellis stormed stage, face livid. Governor signaled security, but cameras already rolling. Colonel presented stolen prototypes manifest. _ sabotage. In ladder shaft. Rowan applied combat. Gauze to wound, teeth grit. She heard security below coordinating chase. She pushed upward, hatch opening to rooftop bathed in afternoon sun. Helipad empty, save maintenance drone. She limped across roof, scanning skyline. Police choppers swirling. Wrist come beeped. Package delivered. Global inquiry launched. Download counts at 2.5 million and climbing. Ortiz's triumphant voice. Rowan exhaled, relief fleeting. Roof door burst, guards pouring. She sprinted to ledge, eyeing adjacent. Building 4 meters away, aerial walkway, under construction, bridging gap with steel beams. She leapt, shoulder screaming. Beam rattled under landing, but held. She turned just in time to see first guard misjudge jump, falling. Others aimed rifles. She dodged, zigzagging across skeletal walkway, until steel ended abruptly, a gap to elevator shaft scaffold. No time. She vaulted, caught scaffold bar, swinging into half-built shaft. Adrenaline masked pain as she climbed down inside vertical labyrinth of cables. Guards took alternate stairs. Radio chatter echoing. She landed on 10th floor substructure, unfinished. Tarps billowing. She ducked behind concrete mixer. She needed exfil. Finley crackled on comes. Local commuter rail tunnel intersects foundation 5 floors below. Service lift locked, but security code appended in sabotage logs. Sending now. Rowan descended via hoist cables, encryption code unlocking cage elevator. Doors slid to dark concrete corridor, humming with approaching train. She crouched behind pylons, awaiting moment. Train thundered. She rolled under safety light, caught side ladder. Wind whipped hair as she pulled into maintenance hatch. Tunnel. Swallowed her. Inside car, she sat among packages. Her calf throbbed. Bleeding resumed. She wrapped second gauze layer, using duct tape from kit. She closed eyes, allowed 6 seconds of stillness. Her mother's voice drifted. Compassion doesn't weaken steel. It tempers it. Rowan felt tears prick, but pushed forward. There would be aftermath. Cliffhanger. Train screeched into next station, dim freight platform, unexpectedly lined with tactical police. Loudspeakers echoed. All passengers disembark for security inspection. Searchlights cut through car windows. Rowan's eyes widened. She checked service map. This stop wasn't unmanifest. It was private logistics hub, likely under division sway. She scanned ceiling, an emergency maintenance hatch leading topside. As doors hissed, footsteps approached. She climbed ladder, unbolting hatch when her wrist pinged unknown code. We can help you. Trust the flame emblem. Below, boots. Stomped, voices shouting. Hatch jammed at last bolt. Rowan twisted screwdriver. Metal groaning. Police radios crackled. Target believed wounded. Prepared to use lethal. Bolts snapped. Hatch popped. Rowan shoved upward, emerging into blinding light of massive warehouse. Men in crimson safety vests turned. They wore flame emblem patches. Friend or foe? She hesitated. Then siren behind tactical team on her heels. A vested man extended hand. Rowan Hall? With us if you want to survive. She glanced at incoming officers leveling rifles. She seized the stranger's wrist. Warehouse. Doors slammed shut behind as bullets ricocheted. Then darkness swallowed them both. Rowan hit the concrete floor hard enough that dust geysered around her face mask, but the crimson-vested stranger kept a vice-like grip on her wrist, hauling her upright before the tactical team's boots thundered through the railcar behind. The warehouse lights flicked out in synchronized rows, plunging cavernous space into a dim mosaic of moonlit skylights and moving silhouettes. Generators hummed somewhere distant. Conveyor belts groaned to a halt as if the whole building paused to catch its breath. Rowan registered details with battlefield triage speed. Height of stacked cargo pods 3, maybe 4 meters, ideal for vertical evasion. Chemical odor industrial. Detergent, non-flammable. Exits rolling bay doors on 3 sides. Catwalk above leading to control booth. A second crimson vest stepped from the shadows. Female, late 30s, braided hair pinned under hard hat. She flashed a signal too. Fingers across chest, thumb up. Rowan recognized neither gesture nor insignia, but the urgency in the stranger's eyes transcended codebooks. Backstory thread via whispered exchange. We're Torchlight, the woman murmured, guiding Rowan between shipping containers. Her accent carried Atlantic Salt, Nova Scotia perhaps. Civic Vigil Group. We monitor Division 7 supply chains ever since their wildfire response drones torched my hometown. Rowan processed. Torchlight she had scrolled past. That name once in encrypted forums while mapping whistleblower networks. Credible but elusive. She allowed herself a tentative nod. A ventilation grate above screeched. Tactical officers rappelled from ceiling trusses, ropes slicing air. Spotlights snapped on, sweeping the aisles. Rowan's escort shoved her behind pallet stack and pulled remote detonator from pocket. Flashbang diversions. He whispered, clicking once. Far end of warehouse erupted in strobing light and thunderous concussions. Tactical team pivoted. Firing blindly. Rowan used chaos, bolting as pain in her calf flared. Her breath rasped, but adrenaline iced nerves. She followed crimson vests through maze of crates labeled sanitation supplies, a front, she suspected, for illicit tech transfer. Audience prompt drop-a. If you've ever trusted a stranger when every sign screamed caution. Inciting incident inside warehouse. Sirens outside swelled. A megaphone voice demanded surrender. The woman split second strategist led them into elevator shaft used for freight lifts. With power cut, she cranked manual lever. Iron cage descended groaning, deeper into subterranean loading tunnel. Rowan steadied with knuckles to grate bars, Darkness enveloped. Only their headlamps carved blue arcs over damp concrete. The male torchlighter introduced himself. Malik Koza, ex-logistics officer turned whistleblower. The woman, Dr. Shian McKenna, structural engineer. They'd tracked Ellis's clandestine transports for 18 months. Your broadcast tonight ripped open the dam, Shian said as cage clanged bottom. Division's black site couriers panicked. Rerouted all sensitive cargo here for relocation. We aim to intercept. Your arrival fortunate anomaly, Rowan almost smiled. Fortunate is relative. Malik keyed steel door. Tunnel yawned. Spines of fluorescent bulbs popping to life on motion sensors. Tracks ran parallel, motorized carts loaded with sealed drums. Warning placards bore symbols for high-energy batteries and rocket propellant. Rowan ran fingers over drums seeing fresh welds. She unlatched inspection window. Inside, cylindrical warhead with micro-thrusters, the Phoenix prototype she'd destroyed. So they salvaged parts. Ellis couldn't risk satellite surveillance at Ridge after fires, she muttered. So he shifted assets by rail, under municipal radar. Shian nodded, jaw clenched. Makes our timeline brutal. Trucks lift off in 50 minutes. Rowan inhaled antiseptic heavy air. Her plan realigned. Capture proof of mass weapons transport. Disable convoy. Secure a live Phoenix drone as incontrovertible artifact. Crisis escalation. Pursuit continues CCTV. Above hissed a Life Division security patch. Rowan yanked dome camera. Wires snapped. Too late. Wall beacons flared red. Automated announcement echoed. Containment breach in loading sector C. Initiate lockdown. Steel shutters slammed behind them. Ceiling shaft. Rowan assessed environment. Racks of chain hoists overhead. Forklifts parked, fuel cells in charging bay. Strategy formed fast. Ignite controlled fire at charging bay. Trigger sprinkler deluge. In adjoining corridor, use water to short security grid. Open shutters. She and Malik drenched rags in degreaser, stuffed into fuel cell vents. A spark from forklift battery rags ignited. They retreated 60 meters. Fire alarms shrieked. Overhead pipes burst. Torrents drenching passageways. Control relays sizzled. Shutters rattled upward. Rowan dashed through, radioing Shian to keep. Crates locked down. She advanced toward command substation to rip route video feed. Everyday competent spotlight. She rewired panel live. Braiding copper with insulated multi-tool grips. Father's voice echoed. Electricity obeys clarity. She found override node. Patched false status sector. See all clear. Perimeter guards would stand down for precious minutes. She downloaded cargo manifest. 24 Phoenix warheads. 8 control cores. 200 heavy lithium packs, all bound for offshore freighter Argosy Dawn via Port Trinity. Tonight. Data saved to Torchup Ortiz's mini drive she'd smuggled in catheter pouch. She encrypted with 3-phrase pass. Hush stitch hawk. Audience prompt punch that. If you've ever hidden the truth in plain sight, because you had no other choice. Asterisk. Reveal. Deeper conspiracy within Torchlight *. Rowan returned to loading. Tracks where Malik and Shian prepped to rig explosives on truck axles. She noticed Shian whispering to unknown figure crimson vest, but emblem slightly off hue. Shian flinched when she saw Rowan, turning too slow. Rowan's instincts prickled. She scanned unknown Torchlighter's Gear Division standard issue earpiece. Double agent. Rowan stepped forward casually, asked for bolt cutters. The agent reached into vest hand emerged with pistol. Rowan reacted first, striking wrist vein. Pistol clattered. She swept leg. Agent toppled, chin cracking rail. Malik aimed flashlight, realized deception. Shian gasped. Betrayal raw. Rowan cuffed agent with cable tie, gagged. Check your con logs, she told Shian. Trust, verify. Malik retrieved agent's phone live tracker, sending location to Ellis's tactical channel. 50 clicks east. Convoy of armored cars rerouted here. Timeline shrank to 20 minutes. Asterisk resolution attempt. Sabotage convoy. Exfil proof asterisk. They slotted 4 charges under last 2 trucks. Timed blast for when convoy reached highway spur. They loaded 1 intact Phoenix shell onto mining cart. Xi'an's engineering acumen repurposed hydraulic lift to raise shell onto maintenance. Dolly, Rowan's calf wound reopened, blood-soaking bandage. She acknowledged pain but pressed on. Malik fired up utility locomotive, planning to push Dolly down alternate service tunnel, ending near Riverside storm drain. Clandestine exit. Rowan jumped aboard, Phoenix shell strapped. Locomotive chugged, wheels echoing like heartbeat. In rear view, Xi'an planted final blast caps, then sprinted to catch up. Vaulting onto platform. Convoy engines sounded from warehouse ramp. Armored personnel carriers painted civilian white. Headlights cut gloom. Rowan keyed detonator remote. Red LED blinked. Malik accelerated. They hurtled down tunnel. Behind, thunder rolled. A 4 blew, fireball blossoming, trucks flipping. Shockwave chased them, heat singeing hair tips. They burst from tunnel mouth onto abandoned canal spur. Locomotive derailed onto gravel, but momentum carried cart onto floodplain. Phoenix shell intact. They detached cart. Dust cloud billowing. New setting. Riverside safe house torchlight. Maintained covert clinic inside gutted paper mill by river. Medical interns and patchwork scrubs patched Rowan's calf with biofoam. Ortiz and Colonel arrived via drone feed on projector, guiding next phase. Following morning, Congressional Subcommittee would hold emergency hearing. They needed artifact delivered to Capitol Annex. Flight out impossible division flagged no fly. Rail lines compromised. Only route. River barge disguised as grain hauler, 12 hours upstream. Xi'an volunteered to skipper. Malik to man engines. Rowan insisted on escorting shell, personally * night-long river journey tension, and reflection * moonlight, silvered water as barge chugged past silent piers. Rowan stood on deck, leaning against cargo tarp sheltering Phoenix. She replayed every micro-choice of past 48 hours should she have exposed Ellis earlier. Could ridge casualties have been lower? Self-interrogation gnawed, but also steeled resolve. She recalled her mother's quiet nights in field hospitals, stitching wounds under kerosene glow, whispering to herself, "One more alive." Rowan whispered same mantra now. At 0300 wooded banks. Parted revealing skeletal bridge Old Meridian crossing. Lights on span flickered. Radar ping flagged metallic objects. Dangling cables suspending drums filled likely with thermate. Ambush. Malik throttled reverse. Too late. Explosive cascades detonated. Fiery chains dropping into river, blocking passage. Division gunboats roared from shadow, searchlights slicing river. Rowan grabbed flare gun, fired into night sky signal to torchlight lookouts rumored to patrol cliffs. Red starburst glowed. Gunboat loudhailers ordered surrender. Rowan stationed behind Phoenix shell, unslung remote for shell's self-destruct. Last resort to deny enemy. Xi'an cranked engines. Barge veered, ramming flaming debris. Hull groaning. A cheer erupted from cliff-line torchlight archers with incendiary arrows. Repurposed firefighting drones repainted. Swooped. Dumping fire suppressant. Foam onto flames, clearing gap. Barge surged through, scraping pylons. Gunboats fired, rounds pinging hull, but foam cloud obscured. One gunboat collided with debris, burst into plume. Second pursued. Rowan assembled rifle from crate, makeshift but steady. She prone on tarp, lined iron sights with gunboat cockpit. 150 meters. Father's breath, discipline-guided trigger squeeze. Shock cracked. Cockpit windshield spidered. Boat veered. Engines sputtering. They escaped into pre-dawn mist. Audience prompt comment. If you've ever felt the tide turn in your favor at the last possible second. Asterisk. Approach to Capitol in crisis reveal asterisk sun rose amber when barge entered. Capitol District Canal. Skyscraper reflections painted water gold. Police river patrol sped toward them, sirens but no hostility. News of Ellis's arrest warrant circulated overnight after manifest leak. Rowan's pulse eased, but Ortiz radioed. Frantic, emergency. Ellis leveraged interim defense secretary. FILED injunction labeling Phoenix Shell, classified national secret. Law enforcement authorized to confiscate at canal checkpoint. Trust in institutions shattered anew. Rowan improvised, reroute. To historic dry dock where decommissioned submarine museum moored. Torchlight hackers spoofed barge transponder to appear part of museum exhibit tow. Patrol boats diverted. Rowan Malik Xian hoisted shell into submarine's torpedo bay via winch. Museum closed for renovation. Perfect hideaway, Ortiz arranged. Covert convoy media van sympathetic to whistleblowers. To transport shell to hearing chamber in 2 hours. Colonel secured congressional escort. Rowan finally exhaled long, sitting on submarine deck, but tension lingered like radio static beneath calm. Asterisk cliffhanger build. Betrayal within torchlight, again asterisk, as they prepped forklift to load shell. Into van, Xian's phone buzzed. Rowan caught flicker of terror on her face before she masked it. Rowan's intuition flared pattern of betrayal repeated. She observed from mezzanine as Xian whispered to someone outside earshot. Glancing. Phoenix Shell. Malik busy securing straps. Rowan approached softly. Everything okay? Xian startled. Fine, just family check-in. Rowan's gaze locked on phone screen. Display ID mom but call duration 0 o'clock likely spoof. She let it slide for. Now minutes later, museum lights flickered. Emergency exit doors clanged. Rowan signaled Malik security cameras offline. They readied weapons. A squad of division operatives stormed through service hatch, led by Ellis himself, uniform impeccable, bruise across temple but grin shark bright. He held presidential-level seizure order. Xian stepped forward, trembling, handing him remote detonator. Rowan's chest caved. Betrayal confirmed. Ellis mocked. Thank you, engineer. Loyalty incentivized. He turned to Rowan. Hand over shell, or your torchlight friends watch you fade. Rowan assessed odds. 2 allies, maybe 6 gunmen plus Ellis and Xian now compromised. Phoenix Shell primed with fail-safe fingerprint to her alone. Still, Ellis held advantage. She raised hands, stepping toward Shell as if complying. She whispered. Under breath, old sniper code to Malik Win 3 left. Malik nodded faintly. Shifted weight. Rowan palmed concealed micro EMP puck, gift from Torchlight Tinkerers, activated timer 5 seconds. She placed hand on shell. Breathing steady. Ellis smirked, advanced. 5, 4, 3. Rowan flicked puck under shell, pivoted sideways. 2, 1. MP pulse erupted, a soundless thump of air. Electronics fried. Ellis's sidearm optic blinked dead. Remote detonator in Xian's grasp. Flashed then bricked. Lights dimmed. Chaos. Rowan swept leg, knocking Ellis to deck. Malik tackled nearest guard. Gunfire erupted sporadic, but aimless and dark. Rowan grabbed shell tow chain, releasing brake. 1,500-pound cylinder rolled down ramp. Toward docks. Divisional guards scrambled, but mass unstoppable. Shell crashed through railing, plunging into canal with titanic splash. Water swallowed it. EMP ensured thrusters inactive. But Ellis laughed, wiping blood from lip. You've only delayed. Divers. Inbound. He snapped fingers. Roof skylight exploded inward as helicopter descended. Searchlights, piercing gloom. Ropes dropped. More commandos slid. Rowan recognized futility. Time to withdraw. She signaled Malik. Fallback route through submarines. Engine exhaust tunnel leading to metro maintenance shafts. Malik lobbed smoke grenades. Rowan darted, but Xian blocked path, tears streaking grease, smudged cheeks. "I had to," she whispered. "They took my sister." Rowan's anger softened. "We'll save her," she vowed, zipping tie cable to restrain but gently. Bullets whizzed, shattering glass coffins displaying periscopes. Rowan dove into exhaust tunnel, sliding into darkness. Behind, helicopter rotor thunder rattled museum walls. Cliffhanger ahead, exhaust tunnel forked. Rowan aimed flashlight battery drained by EMP. Darkness absolute. Footsteps clanged from behind as commandos pursued. She felt a long wall, fingers brushing steel ladder ascending. She climbed upward into unknown. Air grew warmer. Smell of ozone electrical hub perhaps. She emerged into narrow chamber, lined with copper bus bars, crackling with current city power relay. Commandos' voices echoed below. A sign flickered asterisk. Danger, 750,000 volts asterisk. Static prickled her hair. Step wrong. Electrocution certain. Stay, capture guaranteed. Rowan balanced on narrow catwalk. Sparks dancing like staccato lightning. Then the relay breaker tripped a deafening pop room. Plunged into red emergency glow. Arcs of electricity. Chasing metal rails, Rowan's footing slipped. She reached for safety, but hand met only searing air. She fell toward live grid as commandos burst through hatch, their night vision eyes widening. She didn't scream. The air between Rowan and the crackling copper grid felt thick, syrupy with ionized heat, as if time had melted into currents of electricity itself. She tucked her chin, arms crossing instinctively in a diver's posture so her vest, not her skin, would take the first kiss of voltage. Sparks licked metal catwalk rails as her boots skidded down their greased slope. But instead of plunging straight into the charged teeth of the relay, she slammed sideways into a dangling bundle of fiber optic cables. Synthetic sheathing parted under her weight, yet held. She dangled 2 meters above the glowing lattice. Boots swinging over 750 kilovolts of liquid light. Ozone stung her nostrils. The cables creaked, straining. From the hatch above, the first commando shouted coordinates, laser sight jerking across the walls. He couldn't risk firing. One ricochet could arc the entire grid and fry them all. Rowan used the hesitation. She swung her legs, pumping like childhood orchard days when she tried to vault herself over swing-set bars. Momentum built. On the 5th arc she kicked off, launching toward a narrow maintenance girder. Hands slapped rusted steel. Pain sizzled up forearms, but she locked elbows, hauled herself flat. Her lungs burned, but she was alive and uncharred. Audience prompt droppa. If you've ever felt danger breathe against your neck and kept moving anyway. She glanced back. The commando team hesitated at the threshold, their boots rooted to catwalk that now flickered under emergency voltage. Rowan saw their sergeant trying to override breaker controls on a side panel, but the earlier EMP still scrambled circuits. The grid was now a live minefield no one could easily cross. One of them spoke into his mic. Rowan's lapel still carried. Scavenged earpiece. She tuned to their frequency. Primary still mobile. Net Alpha reposition to sub-relay south. Seal docks, he barked. Another voice responded. Copy. Search teams converging. Sub-relay south. That must be exit to street-level tunnels on the museum's far side. Exactly where? Malik intended to rendezvous with the media convoy. Backstory thread via reflection, Malik once told her, over canned coffee in Torchlight's desert clinic, that he joined logistics because the world made more sense when labeled, stacked, and shipped. Now the world was unpacking itself into chaos around him, and Rowan realized she couldn't allow his newly discovered order, his purpose, to collapse under division gunfire. Rowan swallowed copper, tasting adrenaline, and surveyed options. The red glow revealed a secondary access ladder descending below the relay grid. likely to a transformer service bay that bypassed open conductors. She crawled, calf wound reopening beneath bandages, leaving flecks of blood on metal asterisk, inciting incident of Part 5. Infiltration deeper to resurface in time asterisk. The latter rungs were hot, each touch sending needle pricks into her palms, but the service bay floor lay mercifully de-energized. Fluorescent strobes on emergency batteries revealed rows of vacuum breakers and ancient rotary converters purring. Blissfully unaffected by the EMP. Rowan pulled schematic from memory sheet. Studied city utility layouts while planning ridge sabotage presentation. Transformer rooms vented into storm drains. Storm drains fed into the old trolley catacombs that ran under Constitution Avenue, precisely where special hearing index sat. She exhaled. Destiny had handed her a new path. Asterisk everyday competence MacGyvering. Jeer asterisk. Her pack still contained half a roll of filament tape, a cracked NV lens, and 2 syringes of hemostatic foam. She secured bandage, splinted her calf using a fuse puller as brace, and rigged flashlight guts into a pulse strobe for Morse. Signaling should she need to flag torchlight above. Boot prints and sweeping dust told her commandos might choose same path soon. She increased pace, ducking under suspended insulators. The hum of the city's arterial electricity thrummed through her bones, like she'd stepped into the beating heart of civilization. A rust-eaten service hatch waited. She cranked wheel. Stale river water odor wafted. She emerged into arched brick tunnel. Water trickled along central gutter, reflecting tremulous light. Graffiti ghosts whispered across walls. Power to the people. Fitting dot, she limped north. Compass and wristcom still functional enough to orient. After 60 meters, she paused at cross tunnel. Distant echo, Malik's muffled cough. Maybe imagination. She tapped wrist mic, low whisper. Torch, this is hush status. Static, then Malik, pinned at sub-relay Southgate. 10 hostiles. She unsafe but shackled. Convoy held outside perimeter. 5 minutes until breach. Convoy they must be. Journalists and congressional aides. If division captured them, narrative could still be buried. Rowan's fingers tightened around rifle sling she'd salvaged earlier. She needed a force multiplier. Her gaze fixed on water runoff thin layer, maybe enough conductivity. Idea. Flashed. Audience prompt hit. If a wild idea ever saved your day when everything felt impossible. Asterisk. Preparation for crisis and reveal asterisk. She backtracked to Transformer Bay. Using adjustable spanner, she loosened 2 power cables from step-down transformer, feeding non-essential lighting circuits. She twisted cables into improvised contact probes. Then she scavenged an old roll of plastic sheeting from a janitorial closet, fashioned crude insulated gloves and foot wraps. Time ticked. She hauled the cable leads down tunnel, trailing them like metallic serpents towards sub-relay Southgate. Static in her earpiece. Division sergeant ordering tear gas prep. Malik coughing louder. Crisis. Showdown at gate. The tunnel widened into a security alcove where hydraulic blast doors sealed museum utilities from city grid. Malik pressed. Behind forklift, exchanged suppressed fire with guards behind riot shields. Journalists huddled behind armored news van. Some live streaming shaky footage but reception poor. Rowan assessed. Water trickled under gate's drainage grate perfect. Conductor. She crawled alongside wall, staying in shadow. At midpoint she stabbed copper lead into wet concrete, insulation gloves sparing shock. She stretched second lead across flood channel, upstream where water pooled thicker. Then she unholstered. Fuse puller brace. Used its ceramic handle to flip main breaker on hijacked transformer through remote. Relay she'd cobbled with strobe wires that an audible bang reverberated. Current surged down copper, into water film. Division guards howled as conductive boots became lightning rods. They convulsed, rifles dropping. Sparks danced, but journalists were safe. Rubber solace insulating on dry pallet boards Malik had scattered earlier. Rowan sprinted, sliding behind forklift. She yanked spare zip ties, binding groaning guards. Malik's eyes widened, half admiration, half terror. "Remind me never to question your wiring," he rasped. She smiled thinly, then turned to journalists. "Keep cameras rolling. The world deserves context." Reveal. Ellis's deepest cover exposed by livestream. Rowan stepped into lens. She produced the manifest drive, spoke calmly but with iron in throat. Division 7 manufactured crisis to weaponize rescue drones. Here are the shipping logs and hardware proof. They tried to stop this broadcast with lethal force. You can see for yourselves. She gestured to stunned guards. She handed drive to lead anchor, a silver-haired veteran whose face hardened. "We're live to 18 million right now," Anchor whispered. Rowan nodded. "Then let truth multiply." But Commando Sergeant's radio crackled from bound wrist. "Code Black initiated. Asset Hio must be neutralized. Drone strike inbound coordinates lot." Static fizzled. Rowan's blood chilled. Drone strike. Ellis still controlled some Phoenix units or perhaps satellite-guided munitions. They needed to move everyone. Resolution attempt leading to new peril. Rowan ordered convoy to evacuate via Constitution Avenue ramp. Tahiri, NX Colonel, and Ortiz would meet. Malik rearmed with confiscated rifle, taking point. Journalists piled into vans. Xian, wrists bound, pleaded. "My sister still division hostage." Rowan cut ties. Location? Unknown. But Ellis keeps personal ledger flash drive in his uniform pocket. Rowan exhaled. Time to take Queen from the board. As convoy engines roared, overhead tunnel ceiling vibrated propellers. A narrow ventilation shaft popped, revealing sleek micro-drone weaving downward. Cylindrical warhead, Phoenix baby brother. Rowan fired. Bullet pinged off housing. Drone accelerated. She sprinted, tackled it mid-air. Kevlar gloves sparked as rotor blades shredded cloth, slicing knuckles. She jammed screwdriver into intake. Drone whined, flipped, then detonated with flash but limited blast. Shockwave tossed her, rock hitting skull. She tasted iron, ears ringing. Malik hauled her to feet. More inbound. They climbed ramp, emerging into dawn's pale light behind. Capitol annex, sirens blared. National Guard armored vehicles ringed plaza, but an unfamiliar insignia on their doors raised alarms. Division liaison units had commandeered guard detail. Ellis stood at top of granite steps flanked by newly appointed Defense Secretary Halpern. Cameras everywhere. Ellis held microphone. "We thwarted a domestic terror plot led by disgruntled technician Rowan Hawley," crowd murmured. Rowan whispered to Malik, "We disprove him in real time." She keyed wrist, "Come," pinging anchor. Inside van, stream now, split screen. Anchor complied, broadcasting Ellis live while overlaying footage of bound guards and warehouse weapons. Ellis faltered mid-sentence as giant jumbotrons on plaza flashed evidence behind him. Courtesy Ortiz hacking the vent screens. Gasps rippled through audience. Halpern turned to Ellis, confusion edging into horror, if why. The Capitol steps cracked beneath the twin shockwaves, yet Rowan Halley felt the rush of wind before she felt pain falling, twisting, dragging the enemy with her as fire bloomed overhead and the world inverted. The limestone balustrade crumbled under their combined weight. Rowan's shoulder slammed into coarse stone, snapping her fall into a brutal roll across manicured hedges at the terrace base. Commander Ellis landed beside her, the force of her throw turning his arrogant sneer into a gasp of disbelief just before the first Phoenix drone detonated against the plaza. The blast punched upward rather than outward. Rowan's sabotage code still tempering the warhead's full fury, but shards of decorative marble still rained around them like razor hail. She tasted grit, blood and something metallic that might have been adrenaline itself. The second drone spiraled in confusion. Targeting algorithms scrambled by overlapping friend or foe signatures from the crowd, now scattering in every direction. It dipped, clipped a flagpole, and ricocheted toward the reflecting pool. Rowan shoved up on shaky elbows, eyes scanning for Malik. Smoke obscured the steps, but she saw him herding journalists behind armored SUVs. His throat mic flashed. Asterisk third drone acquired. Hacking spool now. Asterisk, she responded with a silent thumbs up, too breathless for speech. Ellis, however, still breathed. He coughed, rolling to his knees, right hand scrabbling for the sidearm Rowan had already kicked away. With his left he clutched at the flash drive lanyard only to find empty air. Rage twisted his bruised features. "You can't win," he rasped, staggering to his feet. "Another division will finish what we began." Rowan pushed up, calf wound seeping but adrenaline dulling pain. She squared her stance, slender build but spine forged in desert wind. The chaotic plaza faded until only Ellis stood in her crosshairs. "Maybe," she said, voice low amid the sirens, "but you won't be there to see it." Backstory thread woven through present. She remembered her father teaching her to steady a rifle on windy cliffs. Never look at the gust, read the terrain it shapes. Ellis was a gust, loud and forceful. The terrain, the people he manipulated, the systems he corrupted, revealed his true path. And now, finally, it revealed his end. Ellis fainted, lunging for a fallen officer's taser. Rowan stepped into the movement, hooking her hip against his and flipping him flat with a practiced economy that drew gasps from nearby reporters still filming. She pinned his wrist against the grass. Up above, Malik's commandeered drone rekeyed its IFF matrix. The unit emitted a mournful beep. Self-destruct initiated, but thrusters locked to climb vector. It rocketed skyward like a malfunctioning firework before disintegrating. High above the rotunda, harmless fireworks of victory, National Guard soldiers flooded the steps, legitimate insignia shining. One captain recognized Rowan from the live stream. Evidence looped on plaza screens. He rushed to her side, cuffs at the ready. "For him," Rowan clarified, nodding at Ellis below her knee. The captain obliged, securing the disgraced commander with industrial-grade bindings. At that moment, the Capitol bell tolled 9, echoing across the mall. Sunlight pierced smoke, spotlighting Rowan's blood-streaked face as cameras captured the image that would headline every feed within minutes. "The uncooperative witness who saved the Capitol. Asterisk. Inciting incident for final arc. Uncovering the larger ledger. Asterisk, with Ellis restrained." Rowan retrieved the titanium flash drive she'd pried from him moments earlier but nearly lost in the blast. She slipped it into the secure breast pocket of her vest, next to the miraculously unscathed torch-up containing the original manifest. The flash drive's data could locate Xi'an's sister and expose every clandestine facility across the globe, but sirens still wailed. The defense secretary lay unconscious, medics working feverishly. Federal marshals escorted Malik, Ortiz, and Xi'an, now re-freed, toward a triage tent for debrief. Xi'an's tear-streaked thanks were heartbreak and motivation bundled together. Rowan's calf throbbed. Medics urged a stretcher, but she refused until she had witnessed the chain of custody. She would not repeat past mistakes. The captain guided her toward a mobile evidence lab hastily erected on the steps. Inside the climate-controlled pod, a thin tech in lab whites prepared to image the drives. Rowan provided passcodes. Her fingers shook not from fear, but from release. Of tension wound too tight for too long. The monitors streamed file tree shipment ledgers, tax dodge shell companies, real-time video of Phoenix test flights in undisclosed jungles. Names scrolled. Defense contractors, senators, foreign dignitaries who had quietly invested in Division 7's disaster extraction tech. Rowan's breath hitched when she saw the heading Collateral Human Trials, She almost disconnected. The drive, the horror too much. But she forced herself to continue. Truth required witnessing. Revulsion hardened into resolve. She collected forensic duplicates, signed chain of evidence forms, and only then allowed medics to inject antibiotics into her shoulder wound. She thought of her mother's field hospital mantra, "Stitch the wound clean the first time." She prayed Congress would follow the same logic for their nation. Outside, crowds of bystanders, tourists, staffers, reporters applauded as she emerged. Some held handmade signs already. "Listen to Hale. Truth is rescue." Social media worked faster than any drone. Asterisk rise of new complication. Bureaucratic backlash asterisk. Rowan barely caught her breath when an envoy of suited attorneys approached, brandishing an emergency gag order signed by a circuit judge. They demanded the drives as classified material pending national security assessment. Malik hissed curses. Xian stepped protectively, but Rowan raised a calming hand. "Chain of evidence is sealed," she informed them flatly, showing barcode receipts. "You'll need a full congressional panel to override, which convenes," she checked watch, "in 30 minutes. Good luck drafting a new order in time." The attorneys steamed but retreated. Malik exhaled. "Bureaucracy slower than bullets, but sometimes it saves us." Rowan realized she still needed a verifiable public testimony, so no backroom deal could bury the evidence. She marched limp and all toward the annex hearing room, already buzzing with senators, experts, and more cameras than she'd ever seen. Main crisis and reveal. Testimony before Congress. Cold air hit her lungs as she stepped into the rotunda-style chamber. Marble pillars rose like guardians. At their base sat a semicircle of legislators, some supportive, others skeptical. The ranking senator, a sharp-eyed woman with silver streaking her bobbed hair, gestured Rowan to witness stand. Microphones clustered like metallic flowers. The senator's gavel tapped. "Ms. Hale, this committee thanks you for your spontaneous heroism. We understand you possess first-hand knowledge of catastrophic negligence and intentional malfeasance inside Division 7. Are you prepared to testify under oath?" Rowan's voice carried across hushed hall. "I am," she told, everything chronological. Precise, no flashbacks beyond immediate recollection. She recounted the Ridge sabotage, the tribunal chamber, the drone heists, the warehouse chase, and the Capitol steps. She threaded her parents' lessons quietly through, the sniper's precision, the medic's compassion, illustrating how everyday competence foiled extraordinary corruption. Halfway through her testimony, exactly 32 minutes in, Rowan paused, throat dry but mind clear. She leaned toward the microphone. "This story took us a long time. If you like it, subscribe. Now back to the story." A ripple of bemused laughter traveled the gallery, thousands of live viewers and online. Chambers heard the unexpected interjection. It broke tension but also cemented engagement, a subtle nod to the digital audience that had followed her journey. Rowan continued without missing a beat, revealing the Phoenix manufacturing specs and the human trial footage. Gasps and shouts erupted. One senator demanded immediate Department of Justice raids. Another insisted on armed escorts for Rowan's family. Ellis, wheeled in under heavy guard, attempted to shout rebuttals, but the chair silenced him. Rowan concluded by placing both drives into the committee clerk's hands. "Cold open hook, 38 words. Truth should not be proprietary," she said, "nor should rescue." Resolution and reflection, rescuing Xian's sister. As the hearing recessed, Rowan pressed Xian's palm, promising to chase the ledger entries. Tagged with an internal code subject L27, likely Xian's sister. The text isolated the file within the flash drive, a facility in coastal Maine disguised as a maritime climate research lab. Rowan expected to hand investigation to federal teams, but Malik lobbied otherwise. "No guarantee agency's untainted," he argued. Torchlight, free from bureaucratic drag, could mount a rapid extraction. Rowan felt fatigue like an anchor, but she couldn't leave the job half-stitched. Within an hour, they boarded a med-evac helicopter loaned by the National Guard pilot, an old friend of Malik's colonel. Still acting liaison, sanctioned mission unofficially. Ortiz remained in D.C., safeguarding data replication under watch. Winds buffeted rotor blades as they sped northeast. Rowan cleaned her wounds, re-wrapped bandages, recalibrated borrowed carbine, and replayed tower schematics of the main lab. She fought eyelids wanting to close. Night-cloaked coastline when they landed beyond sensor range. Pine scent filled air so different from desert dust. Xian guided them through dunes toward concrete bunker lit by sodium arc lamps. Asterisk penultimate. Confrontation asterisk. The lab's perimeter fence featured iris scanners familiar. Rowan recycled the solvent trick from conference pickup, dissolving screw heads, redirecting sensor arrays. They slipped inside maintenance shed, down a ramp into subterranean corridor humming with refrigeration units. Two guards chatted by vending. Machine, Rowan's suppressed pistol teased twin Fef's non-lethal tranq darts. Guards crumpled silently. Malik secured them. Further in, rows of glass isolation cells lined hallway. Some empty, some occupied by dazed men and women wearing biometric cuffs. Room numbers matched ledger IDs. The 27 flashed red. Asterisk, subject removed for off-site evaluation. Asterisk, Xian's breath caught. Tears formed. Rowan scanned logs timestamped 2 hours earlier. Departure via heliport to undisclosed offshore platform. Malik clenched fists. We're always 2 steps behind. Rowan shook head. Not tonight. She accessed flight manifest on wall terminal credentials still cached by pilot. Offshore. Rig coordinates loaded. She turned to rescue detainees now stirring. How many can walk? She asked. Half-raised tentative hands. Rowan keyed come to pilot. Prep for med X phalanx. Within 30 minutes, detainees loaded onto chopper. Sedated for altitude. Xian stayed determined. Rowan, Malik, and 2 Torchlight medics commandeered lab's stealth seaplane, primed with enough range to reach platform. Moonlight shimmered out Atlantic as floats slapped water. Rowan's pulse sensed with engine drone tired, yet sharp. Asterisk final. Crisis. Storm on the platform. Asterisk. The drilling platform loomed industrial skeleton against a star-washed horizon. Lightning flickered in distant squall, sending violet webs across sky. Rowan circuited drone camera. Patrol's minimal division stretched. Thin. They landed leeward, climbed support lattice. Rain commenced needles of ice water soaking fatigues. On deck, rows of shipping containers disguised as oil equipment. Each throbbed with generator hum. They split. Malik jammed external comms. Rowan and Xian located subject ward makeshift. Medical bay converted from crew quarters. Door code cracked after 3 tries. Inside, fluorescent lights revealed a single-bed young woman, mid-20s, IV snaking into arms. Xian's sister Ailsa, monitor showing stable vitals but heavy sedation. Xian choked on relief. Rowan cut restraints, administered antagonist injection from med kit. Ailsa's lids fluttered, but an alarm trilled. Malik's jamming triggered. Backup failover. Footsteps clanged. Rowan positioned behind exam cart. Ellis's lieutenant, Major Connors, burst in with 2 guards. He saw Ailsa free, rage-contorting features. You again, he spat at Rowan. She leveled pistol. Drop. Weapons, Connors smirked, pressing remote. Overhead, container doors slid, revealing inactive Phoenix chassis dozens primed. This platform is self-defending, he taunted. Rowan's finger hovered. Lightning crashed, lights flickered. She remembered transformer bay cables, water conduction, storm's advantages. She fired at ceiling sprinkler sensor. Glass shattered. Deluge cascaded. Connors laughed until water reached exposed control circuits Rowan had spotted earlier. Sparks arced. Phoenix crates junction boxes overloaded, small explosions popping like popcorn. Guard rifles misfired in spray. Xian lunged, tackling one. Rowan drop-kicked second. Connors backed to hallway, slipping on water. Remote useless. Moloch arrived, brandishing crowbar. Connors drew knife. Steel flashed. Rowan intercepted, parrying with four-pole. Dual tight blades. Singing, Connors brute strong. Rowan agile precise. She redirected his thrust, locked wrist, and drove palm into elbow bone cracked. Knife clanged. She pinned him under knee. Rainwater puddled red from his shattered nose. Where else? She demanded, twisting collar. How many platforms? He spat blood. You think killing me stops it? Rowan leaned close. Not killing you, walking you into court. She cuffed him with his own zip ties. They evacuated with Ailsa conscious but weak. Alarm klaxons still wailed, but storm winds now tearing radar dishes. They loaded onto seaplane. Engines sputtering in sheets of rain as they lifted. Internal platform explosions blossomed cascade from waterlogged Phoenix units. Fire reflected off waves like molten petals. Rowan cried out, not triumph but relief. Asterisk resolution and reflection, back on shore asterisk. Dawn's first blush painted eastern horizon when the seaplane touched down near Coast Guard Station. Medical teams whisked Ailsa away. Xian squeezed Rowan's hand, gratitude beyond words. Moloch collapsed onto pier, laughter mixing with sob. Rowan joined, their adrenaline finally ebbing. Helicopters overhead ferried detainees to hospitals. Federal cruisers escorted Connors in chains. 24 hours later, in joint Senate House session, new legislation christened asterisk Hale McKenna. Safeguard Act asterisk passed unanimously, mandating independent oversight of autonomous rescue technology and whistleblower shield expansion. Rowan watched from balcony, stitches in her calf, sling on shoulder, pride in her chest. The ranking senator beckoned her to podium for closing remarks broadcast worldwide. Rowan, still guarded yet compassionate, spoke softly. Competence is quiet until catastrophe tests it. Rescue should be designed to save lives, never ending them. And truth is a louder siren than fear. Applause thundered. Asterisk lingering. Question and future hint asterisk. That evening, as Rowan stood outside the Capitol reflecting pool, she checked an encrypted message from Ortiz. Asterisk asterisk new chatter on dark nets about Division 8. Phoenix was only their prototype. Asterisk asterisk Rowan pocketed phone, gaze rising to full moon mirrored in still water. A hawk sailed overhead, silhouette cutting across white orb. She straightened, pain forgotten. Because competence and conscience, never. Clocked out, 2 more great stories are next. Don't miss them. Subscribe and turn on notifications.